simmered. Welcome back to Beijing 2022, well, at least to the Yanqing National Sliding Center in China, the venue for the sliding events in the Winter Games in 2022. And it is a chance to see the top 25 sliders in the Women's World Cup field going through in the second of two heats. World Cup number 3 of the season after 2 races last weekend at the 2018 Winter Olympic venue in Pyeongchang in Korea. We are here in Yanqing, the current most recent Olympic sliding track. Let's take a look at what happened in the first heat. Well, in third place is the Olympic champion from 2 years ago, Germany's Hannah Neisser. Just 1600ths off the lead and definitely within shouting distance. She had a very strong first run to end up as the second fastest athlete, but she's only in third place because the 2 fastest athletes set the same time. Freya Tarbit, the points leader after last weekend, finishing 4th and then 1st in Korea. Tied time set by the early race leader, her Chinese rival Xiao Dan. What's going on in that shot, wasn't there? Looking at her, looking at her, looking at her. Xiao Dan of China then, the 21-year-old, and definitely the shining light in their women's team. Big race here in the Winter Games. Finished in the silver medal position in last year's World Cup, the season opener in Beijing, but with a great run, led the first heat until she was tied by Tarbit. So, if Xiao Dan wins, it will be a first-time winner for the 3rd race in a row, because Freya Tarbit and Amelia Coltman won in Korea, and neither of them had even had a World Cup medal in their brief careers before that. If Freya Tarbit wins, her first 2 medals will be gold. If Hannah Neisser wins, then she will back up her Olympic gold with a World Cup win here as well. She didn't race here last year, Hannah Neisser, in the season-opening World Cup. There's Freya working on the sled. Lots of work on the sleds and the bodies before they go. Air temperature still at 6 degrees, ice still at -5. So partly cloudy. It's actually largely sunny. Very little cloud cover at all, so humidity isn't an issue, although it might be as the sun starts to head behind the mountains. Top 25 in the first heat go in reverse order in the second. So Julia Simpson, who was 25th, will be first off, ahead of Data Zunter, Sarah Schmidt, Kelly Curtis, and the rest of them. And then we'll get to the lead group, and Tabby Sturker, Hannah Neisser, and then the final 2, Freya Tarbit and first round leader Xiao Dan. 25 sleds to go. World Cup number 3 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup for this season. And happy birthday to us. Not your TV crew, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, but to the IBSF, who celebrates 101 years in existence today. So Julia Simpson, 22 years old, lives in Germany, slides for Switzerland. 5:53 start, 5:52 in the first heat. Nice and tidy through corners 1 and 2. Then there's another left-right sequence 3 and 4. A little quicker than 1 and 2. And then another left-right sequence 5 and 6. Much longer opener and fast and more open. Then uphill into 7. And then 8, 9, this little chicane, 7 and 8, this little chicane, and then corner 10 and into a spiral. So nice form so far from Julia. Corner 13, key corner at the bottom of the track. If you come clean off here, 14 and 15, not too much of a drama. Then 16. Just avoids the wall. 1:03.63. Well, in my head that looked like quite a nice run. What was her first heat time for reference? 1:05.07. Now, how much of that is improvement because this is her 8th run down the track, not her 7th, which the previous heat was. And how much of that is just she might have a fraction faster ice? I'm not entirely sure. She could probably tell us. But that was a very nice looking run from Switzerland's Julia Simchen. Both Swiss sliders made the cut on a track that neither of them have seen before. For Estonia, next up, Dartezunter. 0.05 of a second quicker than Julia in the first heat. And if she wants to hang on to a position ahead of Julia, she too is going to have to find a couple of seconds. Now, at this stage of their learning process on this track, you can gain or lose large slices of time pretty easily by either getting it spot on or not getting it spot on. 5:32, so she starts 2100s ahead. So her advantage 2600s out to 3200s. That carries on through the first few corners unless she scrubs it away because she's got better momentum as well. Nice height in 5. Smooth transition into 6 is really important. Then through the chicane into corner 9. And then uphill into 10. Uphill into the entrance of the spiral, this huge 360-degree corkscrew turn, 3 pressures, and the last one is too late, hits the wall on the exit. So lower speed than Julia Simchen, dropping away behind her. She's gone from 3200s up to 1700s back. This will likely be more than 1/4 of a second at the line, 1/2 a second. 1:04.21, well, compared to 1:05.02, a big improvement. Not as much of an improvement as we saw from Julia Simchen, so Julia hangs out a little longer in the leader's box. Yeah, that late third pressure flopped off the wall on the exit of 11, hit the wall before she went into 12, cost her speed and time. And of course, the lack of speed means lots of time for that. Swiss coach is doing the heavy lifting here, isn't he? Not only coaching Julia Simchen and Sarah Schmidt, but Dartezunter of Estonia as well in between them. So 3 athletes in a row. It's kind of like being the German coach. Second of our Swiss athletes then, Sarah Schmidt, just 19 years of age, like Julia in her 2nd season. Neither of them did the full season last year, but here, I mean, we're now 2 years out from the Games, so this is the pre-Olympic season. Now, comes out of that left groove, or as we see it, left groove, a little better this time, didn't hit the wall head on. 5:27, significantly faster starter than either of the athletes that have gone before her. And that'll be sort of top 12 starting probably for Sarah. Ooh, little skid out of 4. 8/10 up on her teammate Julia. She was 7400s ahead of her in the first heat. But a little skiddy there, and only the 2nd best speed, so that gap will come down a little. Still 2nd best speed. Simchen is still the quickest, almost all the way down. She's going to have the lead, but only by 1500s, so it came all the way down from 8400s to 1500s over Julia Simchen. So Julia, thumbs up as she leaves the leader's box. You don't like to lose to anybody, you probably like to lose to your own teammates a little bit less than everybody else. Well, they've obviously worked on that left groove, but she's got big height there, and boom. That going away shot just shows how much energy is taken out of the sled by some of these hits. So Sarah Schmidt moves into the leader's box. USA's Kelly Curtis is next on ice, 4th of our 25 starters. 104.33 in the first heat, with a quarter of a second advantage over the current leader, Sarah Schmidt. And Sarah did make rather too many errors in that second run, so if Kelly can have a clean start here, she has the chance to ease away a little. Not far out of the top 10 either. And like so many sliders, relatively low knowledge of this track. A little correction between 1 and 2, and then out of 2 into 3. Raced here in the Winter Games, Kelly, 21st place, a little wild. This is going to really cost her. This is still early in the run to be having all these skids and hits. Not going the right way at all. Really scrambling here to try and get back on the programme. Lowest velocity so far into the Kreisel, and second best out, so that was a much more controlled run through the Kreisel than the top part of the track had been. 8/10 back. This is going to drop her right to the tail of the field. 3rd place. Well, ahead of Data Zunter by a 10th, but she loses out to both Swiss athletes, so Sarah Schmidt stays in the leader's box. And Kelly dropping down a little. It all just got a little away from her, above the Kreisel. See Valentina Margali of Italy ready at the top. Yeah, 5 and 6, not at all comfortable. And down at the bottom, 14-15, pretty clean. Oopsie. So the bottom half was good. Kreisel on down, but the top half definitely got away from her. And that's the real problem with that sort of triple S's, is that if you get one bit wrong, it just magnifies itself. 55/100ths of an advantage over current leader Sarah Schmidt from the first heat for Italy's Valentina Margalio. Second fastest starter in the field, 21st at the line. That tells you everything you need to know about the run. 12th in the games here, in her 40th World Cup start, Valentina. Celebrated her birthday last week. Nice heighting too, but brought it down early and paid the price. Rose back up the wall out of 2. Again, a little early, maybe out of 4. Still work hard to keep it online. Out of 6, through the chicane. Takes the hit. Oh. That 9-10 transition, not the easiest. Again, hits the wall coming out. 5th slider, lowest velocity. Still 85/100ths up on Sarah Schmidt. Speed's not great, but she's got enough at the line. 84/100ths, 103.68. Well, 35/100ths better than her first run, which empirically is an improvement, but it's still not a tidy looking run at all. Started 73/100ths up, only found 11/100ths on the way down the run, and she outstarted Sarah Schmidt by 0.2 of a second. It's those big hits that are the issue. 14-15, not too bad, got a little high onto 15. But I think Valentina, like a number of them, will be happier on tracks in Europe that they know better. This is still a work in progress. Well, Korea and Beijing both are. Shouldn't be so much of a mystery for our sixth starter in this second heat. World Cup race number 3 of the season for women's skeleton. Song Siji of China, 24 years of age. In her fourth World, easy for me to say, fourth World Cup start. Having made her debut in Lake Placid at the end of last season. Did most of her sliding in North America, learning the tracks, learning the sport. 5:42 getaway. So with a slender advantage over Valentina Margallo in the first heat, but giving that away by starting nearly 0.3 of a second slower, over 0.3 of a second slower. That means she's really going to have to work hard to try and undo that disadvantage. At the moment, she's dropping behind the Italian. And again, their speed coming into the spiral. That hits the wall on the way out. She's certainly not got those 3 pressures sorted out in her head yet. 2300s up over the Italian. Song Siji very much ought to be in the top 20 here with her knowledge of the track. 103.47. She did a 103.88 in the first heat. So at the moment, certainly, no drama with the no drama with the track losing speed, at least so it seems. Might be a big weekend, one way or another, for Red Bull. Valentina Margallo out of the leader's box behind Song Siji in Formula 1 in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. There is every chance that Max Verstappen will claim his 4th Formula 1 World Championship, 4th consecutive title with Oracle Red Bull Racing. Well, Song takes the lead. Leaders box that away. Again, when you're early in your career, these bits aren't necessarily kind of routine. For Katie Uhlaender, they pretty much are Katie in World Cup start number 105. Finished 6th here in the Olympic Games in 2022. She is a 5-time Winter Olympian. And such a great exponent of the sport. 5:32 the getaway, so it gives her a 10th extra in hand over her Chinese rival. So the lead goes out to 2400s. Katie didn't race here in last season's World Cup, so the last time she was on the track before this week was the final run of the Winter Games in February 22. 1800s up, maintaining her advantage. Second best speed in the spiral. That's promising. Nice clean exit, just a tiny touch best speed of all. So this should see her stretch the lead, and it does. Out of 13, this is the key corner, the exit there. Nice into 14, doesn't bump on 15. If she avoids a big hit with the wall, out of 16, and she does. 103 dead, 8300s better than her first run. So Song Siji disappears from the leader's box, and Katie Uhlaender will make her way in. A little bit of a head shake. She's still annoyed with herself, clearly, over a couple of errors. But an 0.8 of a second improvement in competition. Yeah, a little height in 5 and clattered into 6. A little bit of a skid earlier on. But this was nice.
My hair looks a mess.
One thing you can say about skeleton is it keeps you young. So, Katie Uhlaender pushes Song Siji out of the leader's box. Will she in her turn be replaced by the youngest athlete in the field, Liang Yuxin? Liang just 17, not 18 until 31st of January 2025. Sorry, didn't want to make you feel that old. 5:21. So that gives her, oh, big hit. Gives her 1200s extra above Katie Uhlaender, but I'm not sure she was really aiming for the woodwork there in corner 2. That has done damage. Gaps down from 1800s to 700s, and she is going to be behind, I think, at the next split, unless she really is clean. A big skid. 4th best velocity. Uhlaender was faster. She came on really low into the Kreisel, flops off the end, hits, skids. It's going horribly wrong for Liang. Very disappointing run. 104.54 compared to 103.76, 0.8 of a second slower. Dear, oh dear. Well, she was 0.2 up on Katie Uhlaender. Comes across the line 1.5 seconds behind. So that's the inversion. Katie nearly 0.8 better, and Liang Yuxin nearly 0.8 worse. And right from corner 1, exit of the Kreisel was a triple whammy. There you go, you know, an athlete who knows this track better than any other track and better than most of the other athletes can still make all the mistakes on the way down. So we will have a US leader after this run, because Katie Uhlaender is in the leader's box and Sarah Roderick is on the start line. Roderick, 5th fastest starter in the field. So that will give her a near 0.2 advantage over Uhlaender from the start. She was only 0.8 ahead of Katie in the first heat. This is a very tightly packed group of sliders, so it does mean effectively that Sarah needs to be 0.8 better than her first run as well, just to stay where she is ahead of Katie Uhlaender. 3,400s up. So this is still her extra start speed playing out. Ooh, little skid, 3 to 4. Ooh, late off 4, hits into 5. Dear, 9 to 10, not clean either. Skids off 10. 6th best speed, still with a slender advantage over Katie Uhlaender. Decent-ish exit, 4th best speed, but in the red. Not enough, is it? Hits the wall as well, just too many little errors, and another one. 8th best speed, and another. Obviously, Murphy's Law dictates she hits the wall as well. 6,200s back, 103.70. Well, it was an improvement over a first run, but only by 0.05 of a second. So, not enough to make a difference, I'm afraid. If Uhlaender hadn't improved much, then it might have done, but unfortunately she did. Well, unfortunately for Sarah Roderick, she did. In fact, Sarah drops a 10th behind Song CG of China as well. So 3rd place, and it's all these little late exits and toe steers and drags and skids.
This track
One
is
or
so
two.
I love you.
And so tricky. So tricky. So, Katie Uhlaender leads. We will have a leader from North America. So tenuous, aren't they? A leader from North America after this run, because this is Canada's Jane Channel. So first of the 2 Canadian athletes to make it through into the field, because unfortunately Grace Defoe did not make the cut. So Jane, 74th World Cup start, but is 17th in the Winter Games here, 14th in Pyeongchang 2018, so 2-time Olympian. 5:17 getaway now. She started 5:14 in the first heat, so just a whisker slower. She's got great form, building her speed. The lead to Julenda is coming down. Those little early errors and another tap there, just taking speed out of the sled. So Bart's gone from nearly half a second to below a quarter, and does not have quite the speed that the American did. Fourth best, will be down into single digits soon. Don't think that Jane has got enough to hang on, and that mistake may well be the end of it. Yeah, 14-15 rattles both walls. Across the line, second place. And actually not as neat and tidy a run as her first heat, 1600 slower. So Katie Julenda with a massive improvement in the second run. Seemed to just hit everything right. And Jane Channel, just too many little misjudgments creeping in. And it's those taps, especially when you're going uphill. You think about going uphill on a bike, the one thing you don't do is grab the brakes. That's exactly what's happening there. Katie Julenda, Jane Channel, CG Song, the top three, 10 of 25 sleds down. 10 down, 15 to go. Race 3 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. We are in the Yanqing National Sliding Center, outside of Chinese capital, Beijing. The 2022 Winter Games venue. Liu Qi of China next up. Katie Julenda of the USA is our current leader. And Lee, not a great start. 5:13 in the first heat, 5:21 in the second. Now, I know it's only a few hundredths of a second, but normally athletes are much closer in their start times than that. Oh, little skid. Still building her advantage over Julenda. Katie Julenda has now got 8 trips down this track in the last 2 years. I think run volume of somebody like Liu Qi would be more like 80 trips down this track. Only the 5th best speed, and the advantage has halved. 2nd best speed, Julenda's still the fastest from the Kreisel on down. Just enough. 1:03.26, only 1300s better than her first attempt. She was 700 slower at the start as well, so Liu Qi, not the most convincing run perhaps. 14th in the Winter Games, Julenda was 6th. But Liu Qi takes the lead. She finished in 7th in the World Cup race at the start of last season. She is not going to finish 7th today unless I don't know what the unless is. She's just not going to finish 7th today, is she? She can't. She leads with 14 to go. That's just not happening. The track is not dying the way that Pyeongchang did on day 1 in the women's race. Katie Julenda going, this way, over here. Organising everybody else's lives for them in the finish area. That should be Ilko's job, isn't it? Isn't he not floor managing? It's just eating stuff in VIP. Next up, Alessia Crippa of Italy, the 24-year-old.
Go, 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 go!
21st and 25th, disappointing start to the season in Korea. A little better here in 14th place. 5:19 getaway. She was the 8th fastest starter in the first heat. Gives her another couple of hundreds over Liu Qi, which means as she lay down on the sled, she was 400s up on the Chinese slider. She is not going to hold on. She's already dropped level, and a long skiddy drift there. She was trying to hold the nose of the sled up, and it just wasn't having it. She's quite head and shoulders up, isn't she? Still really looking for the line. Second best velocity behind Katie Uhlaender. So this is actually faster than Li Yuqi, but she skates it away there. Skids and taps. 3600's up on Li. This is a better run. Tiny errors, not costing her so much. 3500's up, 102.93, so the first sub-63 run of the second heat. And that is over half a second quicker than her first run. 102.93 is the 5th fastest run of the competition so far. That would have left her ahead of Kimberly Boss, who was the bronze medalist in the Olympics on this track. That run, if she'd done it in the first heat, despite those errors, would have left her in 5th place, not where she found herself down in 14th. Much better run. That's why she's got an even bigger smile on her face. She's so hard to read. She's just grinning the whole time. Now then, we had a couple of ties in our first heat, the first of which is for 12th place, was originally for 9th, but a few slid in front of them. Hallie Clark ties with Janine Flock. The Canadian goes first, 5:23 getaway. Hallie Clark, the reigning world champion. So she took the title in Winterberg, this year's World Championships in Lake Placid, a track that arguably she probably knows better. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Of course, that's months from now. The delayed 2021 World Championships, because in COVID it was supposed to be in Lake Placid in 21. 100th back. This is real to and fro stuff. Second best speed behind Uhlaender, so ahead of Alessia Crippa. 1600's up. Crippa was quick at the bottom, really gained an advantage. Best speed of all, fastest at the bottom, Hallie Clark. Fantastic stuff. Touch on the wall, but across the line, half a second up. 102.47. Only 300s off the 4th fastest run in the first heat. So, goodness, suddenly Alessia Crippa and Hallie Clark have really accelerated away from the field. That's very interesting. Lots of speed to be found in the track. Not sure what sled she's sliding on. I wonder if it's a Schneider. But she's been congratulated there by Jane Channel. She moves into leader's box ahead of Alessia Crippa, who is definitely on a Schneider sled. She's been coached by Willie. Well, they both found significant improvements despite a few loosey-goosey moments. So, what about Janine Flock? Well, Janine Flock does not do loose. Janine Flock does surgical precision. And that is often very quick. Tied to the 100th with Hallie Clark. Mickey Grumberger, her coach. Returned to coaching the Austrian team last season after a couple of years as the competition director for IBSF. Many years coaching Great Britain skeleton sliders and smaller nations as well. Nice height in 1, not too much in 2. Just a tiny little correction coming down to 3. Didn't want to come in too far on the right. Nice out of 4. Tiny tap in the chicane. To 9, 10. What's the speed like going in? Only the 5th highest speed going into the Kreisel. So she is 3/10 back. She needs to be very quick down here. Second best speed. Her Kreisel was great in the first run as well. She really found speed, but the gap continues to grow as Hallie Clark is the fastest down at the bottom. And Janine loses out by 4/10. So they were tied to the 100th in the first heat. 102.47 for Hallie, 102.87 for Janine. Well, it wasn't a bad looking run, but Hallie Clark's was a lot better than her first. So Janine stays in second ahead of Alessia Cripper and comfortably ahead of Li Yuqi. But Hallie Clark really produced the goods in that second run. She's the leader with 11 to go as we get to our birthday girl. Anna Fernstedt turns 28 today, so can she give herself another top 10 finish as a birthday present? Finished in 10th place here last year. She finished in 8th in race 2 in Korea. Her first top 10 finish since Beijing last season.
Go, 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 go!
She was only 800s, I beg your pardon, only 400s out of the top 10 in the first heat, so it is very much achievable. She's got good experience and she really builds speed down the track. 56th World Cup start. Nice height in two, maybe just a little early down. 500s back. Has not lost anything. 5:37 start, same as Janine Flock. Hallie Clark started 1400s quicker. Slipping into the lead over the Canadian. She only had 800s over Hallie from the first heat. She's out to 500s up. Clark was fastest from here on down though. So Anna losing a little bit of speed in the Kreisel. That gap is down to barely anything at all. Not as quick as Hallie Clark. Clark's going to move up and Anna is going to slip a spot here. Across the line, just 300s back. That is tight. So 102.58 in the second heat, 103.24 in the third. Hallie Clark was 1100ths of a second faster in heat 2 and creeps ahead of Anna Fernstedt. But they are only 300ths apart. Janine Flock in third is 4/10 back, and don't forget she was tied with Hallie Clark. So Piccolo, it might still be a top 10 finish for Anna Fernstedt. She lies in second with 10 to go. Into the top 10, first of our 4 German sliders. So this is Kuna Leipold. She is the newbie in the team, made her World Cup debut in Korea last weekend from Berchtesgaden in Bavaria. And Corinna, the reigning Europe Cup champion, had a podium in every one of the 8 races last season. 5 wins. And runner-up to Amelia Coltman in the Intercontinental Cup, which was the second tier of sliding behind the World Cup up to 2 years ago. 5:29, so good start, little whisker quicker than her first. And every slider now will have a little bit more of an advantage over Hallie Clark. Corinna's first heat advantage was 1400ths. That's down now to just 300ths of a second because Hallie is a quicker starter. But can the young Bavarian find the speed? She's certainly got good form. The German FES sleds produce the speed pretty much everywhere. 6th best speed out of the Kreisel, a little too high there. Top 5 speed, but she's going to slip out of the top 3. She'll be behind Janine Flock at the line. No, she's not. She's just in front of her by 100th of a second. So she found a little bit of something down at the bottom. Corinna Leipold. Hallie Clark remains in the leader's box. Anna Fernstedt in second. Corinna Leipold in 3rd place. And the next 2 sleds coming up were only 600s quicker and 200s quicker than Corinna. So that top 10 finish for Anna Fernstedt is not out of the question yet. This was another very close group of athletes, about half a dozen of them, covered by 1400s of a second. So it's going to be interesting to see Corinna Leipold when we get to the European tracks, where she spent all last year racing and winning medals. Don't expect her to be hanging out at the tail of the field. Mystique Rowe with the Katsuhiro Koshi "I'm coming to get you" signal to the track. Fastest starter in the field, 5:04 getaway in the first heat. It's a little bit of an uncomfortable load, but a 5:05 start and the best velocity. Hardly a surprise, nobody else has been in single digits. The next fastest starter was 5:14, nearly a 1/10 of a second slower. 4600s up on Hallie Clark. First time on this track. Didn't race here last year, didn't race here in the games. So 6 training runs, 1 heat this morning, this afternoon, and oof! And that hit put her offline, and then you have to work really hard to try and get the exit you want from the next corner, and all of that is taking speed and energy out of the sled, and then a tap on the exit of 11. And these are all rookie errors. She's not quite a rookie in the World Cup. She competed in almost all of last season, but still new to the track. 2800s down, drops to 3rd. So Hallie Clark leads with 8 to go, and Fernstedt second with 8 to go, and Mystique Rowe in 3rd place. May still get a top 10 out of this, I think. She'll be very tight the next few sleds. And when she's on tracks she's more familiar with, that start is going to be even more of a powerful weapon. She's just got the legs out to one side just to try and drift the sled back to its right-hand side. So Hallie Clark, the world champion, remains in the leader's box. Final 8 sleds, and we get a pair of Germans up next. Susanne Kreher, 2023 world champion. So Susanne in her 20th World Cup start. Let's see if she can creep up a little bit here. She was only 1800s ahead of Hallie Clark from the start. 5:23, an identical start to the Canadian, and so that 1800s remains. Not too bad. Out of 3 into 4. Just starting to creep away a fraction. Clark was not quickest at the top of the track, but she was below here. 11.9, only the 5th best speed. The gap will come down. What's it like on the exit? 3rd best speed. Has she got enough in hand? Well, it was 2200s, it is 1500s. Unless she makes some big errors here, only the 5th best speed. She should have enough to hang on. Doesn't, 500s back. Ooh, that was close. That touch on the wall, that's what sealed the deal. Hallie Clark leads still with 7 to go. I'm saying now we're not going to get 12th to gold for Hallie Clark. This is not 15th to victory on a dying track like last week. No disrespect to Amelia Coltman, a win is a win and you can only race what you're given, but she was the best run on the least worst bit of track. Suzanne Creyer, couple of little errors down the bottom, but she somehow managed to keep the speed on board until she hit the line, or hit the wall just before the line. And there's the reaction from Hallie Clark. She wasn't sure which way that was going to go. I think she thought that Creyer had it. She just had enough in hand, and that tap on the wall, that's all it took. Now then, Jacqueline Pfeiffer, Jackie Lurling as was. Jackie, the 2017 world champion, Olympic silver medalist in Pyeongchang. Looking to head into her third Winter Games in 2 years' time. She was 8th here in 2022.
Come in.
Still just 29. Really sliding as well as ever. She's never been a fast starter. First heat 5:38, second heat 5:39, so she gives away time at the start. But, ooh, very high again in corner one. Did she not do that in the first run? Am I misremembering? I think she did. Maybe that's the line that she likes, or that's the line she ends up with. Not too bad so far. 400s up on Hallie Clark. This is all first heat advantage. She's still trying to undo her start deficit to the Canadian. Fourth best speed. Hallie Clark still the fastest at the bottom speed traps. Now, Jacka is quicker by 0.4 of a kilometre an hour. Builds the advantage as a result. That's chin on ice, not toes. Third best speed. This is our new leader. Jacqueline Pfeiffer at the line by 0.2 of a second, 1:02.47. And that is the 5th fastest run of the competition so far. Tied with Hallie Clark, exactly to the 100th in that second heat. And she thinks there's too many mistakes. I wonder if she fancied perhaps a chance, an outside chance of a medal. Well, she's right, there were a few mistakes in there. And she only survived ahead of Hallie Clark by her first heat advantage, which was 2100s. She was high in one, wasn't she? There you go, 14:15, just a little toe drag. Well, Jacka has got buckets of experience. This will be hard to beat when we get back onto better known tracks. Next up, first race winner of the season, Great Britain's Amelia Coltman. In her previous, what were then 11 World Cups, she'd not taken a medal. World Cup number 12, she got gold. 5:22 start. Well, that's 500s quicker than her first getaway. Now, she was 6/10, 6200s, exactly, out of the medals. So I think she's looking for what they refer to as the wider podium, a top 6 finish to keep her in the frame. Race 1 gold, race 2 19th in Korea. She was on the other side of the coin in race 2. Oh, big hits. That's not great. Really uncomfortable run through the chicane and into turn 9 and 10. That has robbed her of a lot of speed. Gone from 3200s up over Jacka, 1800s back. And at the moment, it's so tightly packed that she may well slip down 3 or 4 spots. 16th at the 16th best speed at the bottom, drops 9 spots. Wow. Well, a 1:03.35, and that is the slowest run in the last 9 sleds. And up to corner 6, it was looking okay. And then chicane 9-10, lots of speed went away. That's the 9-10 crossover. She hit out of 9 and into 10. And then that leaves you losing speed all the way through the spiral. Hey-ho! So, Jacqueline Pfeiffer, Hallie Clark, Anna Fernstedt, the top three, as we have 5 to go. Kimberly Boss of the Netherlands next up, the first starter in our field this afternoon, the 31-year-old Olympic bronze medalist on this track. We have 2 of our Olympic medalists from 2022 here. It's a little bit slack of Jackie Narracott still to be competing, don't you think? Jackie and Don Parsons now married and both retired from the sport. 5:15 getaway. And of course, all the arguments in that house are settled by Dom having an Olympic bronze and Jackie having an Olympic silver. Plus, she's his wife, so she'll always win anyway. Nice looking lines early on from Kimberly Boss. Little toe steer for correction out of 5 into 6. Little taps through the chicane. Oh dear. Sort of busking it a bit here. She's not on line. Only the 9th best speed. 3700s up, but that's come down from 5100s up. This is basically her first heat advantage still. 1500s up. I don't think that's enough. Jackie Pfeiffer was fastest at the bottom, 7th best speed. It's going to be close. It is close. 1:02.63. Wow, 100th behind Jacka. So Jacqueline Pfeiffer, who was 10th and 4th in Korea, will be no worse than 5th here. She's always got so much to say after a run, Kimberly Boss. It all just comes out. Instant debrief. That was just loose all the way. And a whisker too loose. Jacqueline Pfeiffer leads 4 to go. So we get to the only British athlete in the women's field not to win a medal in Korea. Tabby Stoker led after the first heat in race 1, and the soggy ice completely tucked her up, absolutely did for her. She stood very little chance at all. 18th and 5th she recovered to in the second race. So let's see what she can produce here. Winner in La Plan last season. Her 11th World Cup start today. Can she ease into the medal? Well, she was only 400ths out of the medals in the first run. 5:05 is an electrifying getaway. Big height in 2, hits the woodwork, Janine Flock style. Little skid there as well. And she's going to have to beat the Olympic champion Hannah Neiser to get a medal here. She had a very good start. Speed is still there. Tabby's got this real feel for the ice. The sort of thing that you expect when somebody comes from circus sports. 8th best speed into the Kreisel. What she got on the way out? Well, she's got a double tap. The speed had increased, but it will go away. Down to 8/10 up over Jacqueline Pfeiffer. That's the helmet on the ice, but only 11th best speed. She'll have the lead. Is it enough for a medal? We'll have to wait and see. 1:02.65. Oh, she was 1:02.44 in the first heat. Kimberly Boss did a 1:02.63. Jacqueline Pfeiffer 1:02.47. So not the best run from Tabby Stoker. Is it enough for a medal? Well, she's going to have to rely on somebody else making mistakes. This is big height in corner 1, right up in the woodwork, bam. And then getting ping-ponged down the straight as a result. And lower down, just about avoids getting kicked away from.
I will ask upon China, right? Thanks for watching. watching, everyone. Love you all so much.
Jacqueline Pfeiffer leads, big pardon, Tabby Stoker leads for Great Britain. 3 to go. Our Olympic champion Hannah Nizer, third after the first heat, only 1600ths off gold. And for Nizer, that is very much a target that she would like to achieve. Started 5:35 in the first heat, 5:33 in the second. Much cleaner in corner 1 than the top 2 currently, Tabby Stoker and Jackie Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer was up near the woodwork. Stoker hit the woodwork. It's a little better run. Now she's erased all of her start deficit and already into the lead over Tabby Stoker. So this is an Olympic champions run from Hannah Nizer. Best speed so far. Oh dear, not brilliant, but still better speed than anybody else. Not by much. 4th best speed, but she's building her advantage. Quarter of a second up on Tabby Stoker. Across the line, it's 4500ths. 1:02.24 equals the time set by the remaining 2 athletes in the first heat. So, equal fastest run down the track of the day from Hannah Nizer. Hannah 1600ths off the lead, and that guarantees her a medal. Hannah Nizer leads from Tabby Stoker and Jackie Pfeiffer. Well, in a 4-heat race, she came out on top of the world. Hannah Nizer, the 2022 Olympic champion on this track, and that dialed right back into that. Let's see if the Winterberg girl can end up on the top step of the podium. Tabby Stoker offers her congratulations. So our World Cup points leader, 4th in race 1, just 200ths of a second out of the medals. In Korea, 1 race 2. Freya Tarbit tied for the lead in the first heat here. This could be a massive run if she can take the lead away from the Olympic champion here. I mean, she destroyed Hannah Nizer in the second run in Korea, winning by 9/10 of a second. 2800ths up. Started 5:21 in the first heat, 5:24 in the second. She needs to be so good now to take the lead. It's clean so far, 2400ths up. What's the speed like? Nizer was quickest here. Nice stuff from Freya Tarbit. Top speed, the same as Hannah Nizer. This is going to be very close. Makes the same mistakes coming out of the Chrysler as Hannah Nizer. 1:18.9. 700ths of a kilometre an hour quicker than Hannah Nizer. 1:24.8. Has she got enough in the tank? She was 1700ths up. Is she ahead of the line? No, she's not. And again, it is the hit on the wall that does it. The Olympic champion leads. Freya Tarbit 2nd, Tabby Stoker 3rd. So Jacqueline Pfeiffer in 4th place, out of the medals. Kimberly Voss in 5th place, out of the medals. And Haley Clark in 6th place, out of the medals. But Freya Tarbit, that was a really strong run. Just a little bit more of a mistake there than we saw from Hannah Nizer. A tiny bit more there in 15. And that meant the hit on the wall coming uphill to the line, and that's what took those 300s away.
I mean, I was so annoyed.
400s as it is.
But it's fine.
So, Germany leads, Great Britain 2nd and 3rd. The final sled, Xiaodan of China, silver medalist here last year after finishing 9th in her home games in 2023. Is this the day for little Dan to take her first win. Just 21 years of age in her 23rd World Cup start. At home, the track she knows best, 5:21, 500s quicker than her first heat. She's found something big, just a little correction in one. That was good. Clean out of 4. 3,300s up on Hannah Neisser. Neisser was only 1,600s behind from the first heat. The gap's come down a little. Neisser was very quick here. 1:13.7 for Hannah Neisser, 1:13.3 for Xiao Dan. Only the 4th best speed, a quarter of a second up. She's holding her lead, best speed at all, best speed of all at the bottom. This is going to be victory, the first win of her career for Xiao Dan of China. And what a place to take it, 1:02.03. Her second run is comfortably the fastest of the competition, a third of a second better than anybody has managed. And Xiao Dan takes her first win on home ice in race 3 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. Well, her previous best result was the silver medal on this track at the opener of the campaign. Last year, that was her only medal in 22 previous races. And now she has her win. Xiao Dan wins at home. Hannah Neisser there, the Olympic champion, takes the silver. And Freya Tarbit on the podium again with the bronze. So we have 3 different winners this season. Amelia Coltman, Freya Tarbit, and now Xiao Dan. Well, congratulations to her. There's got to be a lot of pressure. Yes, she knows the track. Yes, she's at home. Yes, it's familiar. But she's never won. And there are all these experienced sliders who have laid down good second heats. She had to respond. And I'm sure there were nerves. Last out of the changing room. Doesn't happen very often in a young slider's career, but she takes victory here. Xiao Dan of China wins gold in World Cup number 3 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton campaign. Well, congratulations to her and to Olympic champion Hannah Neisser, who took silver, and Freya Tarbit, who takes the bronze medal. And that's her second medal of the season, and I think that might well keep her in the yellow jersey. Well, there is your podium. Xiao Dan, Hannah Neisser and Freya Tarbit. Hometown heroine, Olympic champion and World Cup points leader, all on the podium here. Well, a tight finishing order, and Freya Tarbit does indeed retain the yellow jersey. Hannah Neisser moves up to second place ahead of Janine Flock, who slips to 4th behind our newest winner, Xiao Dan of China. And Jackie Pfeiffer and last year's World Cup champion Kimberly Boss in the top half dozen. So some of the athletes who competed last weekend not here. None of the Spanish are here. And Nicole Silveira of Brazil and Kim Marmans of Belgium not here either. And a couple of others have disappeared back after the 2 races in Korea to prepare for the European campaign. Now they will have a week off for travel, and that will allow them to get back home and sort themselves out before first weekend of December, when we will be sliding again with the women's and men's skeleton and with the entire bobsleigh field in Altenburg in Saxony. But for the moment, our newest race winner, what a place to do it. If there was anywhere where you figured she might have the best chance, then the Yanqing National Sliding Center had to be it. Silver medalist in last year's World Cup, the gold medalist Xiaodan of China. Well, that's it for the women's competition. The men will be on ice at 4:45. That is 8:45, I beg your pardon. They'll be on air at 1900. That is 1100 GMT. That is in an hour and 10 minutes. 0600 Eastern. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Anneliese, come back to your golden track. How did it feel?
Es war echt schön, wieder hierher zu kommen. Jetzt heute leider war das Wetter nicht so schön, die Bahn nicht ganz so schnell wie gestern im Abschlusstraining. Aber ich denke, sie haben es trotzdem ganz gut geschafft, die Bahn hier gut hinzurichten. Und es hat einfach heute Spaß gemacht. Ich habe mir die Woche ein bisschen schwer getan. Ich habe mir das alles ein bisschen leichter vorgestellt. Aber ich denke, heute konnte ich meine Läufe ganz gut zeigen. Es waren zwar noch ein paar Kleinigkeiten drin, aber es hat Spaß gemacht, wie vor 3 Jahren, vor knapp 3 Jahren. Und es war schön, wieder hier zu sein.
What makes this track so special?
Ja, es ist schon eine sehr lange Bahn, hat 16 Kurven, davon sind aber 4 auf